Mr. Frank Warren, how are you, sir?
I'm good, young man. How you doing? You right, Andrew?
Good, thanks. Yeah,
all
very
good.
well.
Frank, I mean, this is it. Days away from the rivalry, which has gone on for, what, 40 years? You're finally going to get maybe one over on Eddie Hearn on Saturday.
Finally? We've had a few over him. What are you talking about, finally? We're going to get another one over him. Yeah, so, look, we're really looking forward to it. Competitive fights, fabulous fights, you know, all good, even matches, and I can see all my guys coming through.
And you've been pretty out there with your prediction. You've gone 5 knockouts. Genuinely believe every Queensberry fighter will win by knockout.
I believe all our fighters are capable of winning by knockout, and I genuinely believe we will win all the fights.
How long did it take to agree on the weights? Because we've ended up with featherweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and 2 at heavyweight. Was that a long, drawn-out kind of negotiation, or was it quite easy?
No, it was really simple. We had to pick 2 weights apiece, Eddie and myself. I picked heavyweight and middleweight because they've always been strong weights in the British division, and he picks his 2 weights, light, heavy, and feather, and then His Excellency picked like the joker in the pack, if you want to call it. So he went for the heavyweights. So that's how we got to where we got to.
We'll talk more in detail about this 5 versus 5, but just got to get your comment on the news, which is now officially out there, that the rematch is now confirmed for December 21st. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk, they run it back, they do it all over again. How excited are you to have that fight happening again, Frank?
Well, I'm very excited about it. It was an unbelievable fight, the first one. You know, the biggest fight of the 21st century, an unbelievable heavyweight fight. Nothing in it. Both guys, I mean, they never left anything in the ring. They both give their all. And they want to dance again, so that's going to happen. It's been pushed back, because I think one of them, not Tyson, but Usyk, I understand, sustained an injury, which won't be, there's a reason he won't be fit before then. But that's a perfect date for it. Give them both time to recuperate from a very, very, very tough fight. And hopefully we'll see the same again. You know, Tyson wants it, I want it. It's as simple as that. When I say I want it if Tyson wants it.
Yeah, you don't want Usyk, do you, Frank?
I definitely don't want Usyk, no.
But it is a good turnaround time, isn't it? Because mid-October, even if there hadn't been any kind of injury, given that they've both been in camp for a really long time and how hard that fight was, that felt quite quick to me. Whereas December, Christmas, feels kind of perfect.
Well, it does, and it's, you know, it works out a good time of year anyway. You know, we did one over here just before Christmas, and it had a tremendous turnout. Done really good numbers, and I think this one will do even bigger. This would be a massive fight, be much bigger than the first one, because of how close it was, what a dynamic fight it was. You know how dramatic it was. It will have all that again and more next time, I promise you.
What has he got to do to win the rematch? Because he had plenty of success. One judge had him winning the fight. What has he got to do to win it?
He's got to do what he does well, which is to go out there, box, get behind his jab, use his jab, and let his shots go. And he did that. And you know, up until mid-fight, he really got on top of it for me. And he got a second win, the other guy. And once he caught Tyson on the nose in that 7th round, it just changed a bit of the dynamic of the fight. You know, Tyson just seemed to lose his focus very briefly. Then obviously he had the big round in the 9th, and that was it. But it was a fight of 2 halves. That's how I looked at it. There was nothing in it for me. Tyson won the last round. He got back into it, and he knows what he's got to do better than anybody. And I'm sure Usyk does as well. Having said that, that fight will take a lot out of both of them. They need the time to recover, and it'd be interesting to see, you know, who's learnt the most from the first fight.
Have you spoken to him about it in the last kind of week or so? Obviously, you were with him at the press conference straight after the fight, but in the last few days, maybe, have you chatted and his thoughts have changed at all?
I spoke to him when he got back to make sure he was okay, and the first words out of his mouth is that he wanted the rematch. And he said he was told that he'd won the fight and felt he'd won it. But no one's complaining about the decision. You know, it's a close fight, and I get how it could have been scored either way by people, and a lot of people scoring it a draw. But next time, I think it's going to be a more emphatic fight between the 2 of them. And what I mean by that, I think you will get a decision that will not be debatable.
Fantastic stuff. Look, we absolutely can't wait for it, Frank. Just your word on the main event, on Wilder versus Zhang, Zhang versus Wilder. Zhang looks to have lost a little bit of weight. He looks like he's coming in good shape.
He's in excellent shape. He's trained very, very hard, as has Deontay. Both these guys are at a crossroads now. The loser, I am pretty sure, will be very much done at the highest echelon of the sport. And neither of them can afford to do that, especially at their age. So they're both on the money. And our man Zhang, he's really up for this. He fancies it big time. So we will see. One thing for sure, it will be exciting. I do fancy Zhang to do the business. You know, even the fight with Joe Parker, I mean, he was well in front in that fight until he faded at the end. A couple of knockdowns. He's a powerful puncher. And Deontay, for me, in his last fight, I couldn't believe what I was watching. He's got to really turn himself around to be in this fight. And we can see where he can do that.
Let me ask you this, Frank. You've promoted so many fighters over the years, been involved in the sport for so long. How often do you see a fighter say that they've lost the hunger, but then get it back? Because that's what Deontay Wilder is saying here.
It's not just the hunger, it's also, as you get older, we all know it, and I know it better than all of you, as you get older, things change. And for a fighter, obviously, you've got your brains there still when you're fighting. You've got your boxing brain, you know what your moves, but it's whether your body can respond to it and whether you're still, you're not a young man anymore. Your styles change. I've seen like Muhammad Ali up on his toes, moving around hard to hit. As he got older, his legs went flat-footed and he adapted and changed his style. Boxed far too long, by the way, should have stopped. And I've seen that with a lot of fighters. And you'll find some fighters who come out and knock everybody over, then they stop knocking them over and the fights go the distance because when you're throwing big punches, you're exposing yourself. You throw a big right hand, your chin's out there. As soon as it's there, your chin's up. And you get clipped, and a lot of the big punchers change their adapt their styles because they don't want to get clipped. And you see fights go longer. But for me, the first one to know that it's changed and it's over, believe you me, is the fighter. Last to admit it, but they're the first to know. And you can only do so much in boxing. Boxing, at the end of the day, unless you're an ultra-smart fighter, is a young man's game.
Well, one thing that we do know is that this location, yet again, is absolutely extraordinary, Frank. Every time we come back here for another show, the levels just go up and up and up. Talk to me about this.
Well, it does. I mean, look at the background that we're looking at now. I mean, look at that. Nothing's done by halves it's not done by holes. I mean, it just goes to another level. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I tell you what, and the fighters respond to this. The fighters, they know this is big time. They're in here. They know they've got to go out there and put on the performance of their life. They want to be on this platform continually. And the only way you do that, you've got to keep winning. Or if you get beat, you've got to look good getting beat. And that, for me, is it's inspiring for them. And they're all rising to this occasion. That's why I feel so strong about our team in this 5v5. You see them yesterday. They're as a group. When they were announced, all together, all cheering together.
It's great.
There's a lot of camaraderie there. We've got a good captain in there. This is great stuff.
What do you think about this fight, though, Bivol defending his title against Oleksandr? Because Bivol wouldn't appear to be the kind of guy who would take his eye off the ball, but if ever you were going to, these are kind of the perfect conditions for it to happen, because Bivol was expecting to fight Better BF for undisputed. He'd been waiting a really long time. That's not happening. Now he's got a late replacement, a guy who'll be hungry, looking to take his opportunity. People can swear blind they will never take their eye off the ball, but it happens, doesn't it?
You're right, Andy. It does happen. It does happen on occasions. Bivol's he's got the perfect record, isn't he? He's 20-0. I think it's 20-0, isn't it now? He's a great fighter. He's done everything that's asked of him. Bit of a Brit basher as well. He knows he can't afford to slip up. He's got a massive payday coming up against Bebersiev, which will be rescheduled for the autumn. So he has to be at his best because everybody's going to be coming at him. If you get this opportunity now, you can jump in and you can literally seize it with both hands. Come from nowhere and do it. And we've seen it happen now. It's happened on a few times. It's big upsets. So, as I say, anything can happen. I expect Bivol to come through if he continues to do as he does. But he's no youngster either.
No, he's not. And listen, if an upset is going to happen, it'll probably happen here. Strange things happen.
Things happen
in Rio.
here, no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
I'll tell you what else I've noticed, because you mentioned about the atmosphere, the kind of the setting here. The fighters do respond to it. The chest puffs out, the shoulders get a little broader, and I haven't seen broader shoulders and a chest puffed out more than Hamza Sheeraz this week. He's taken to the captaincy.
Look, he's taking it. I met with his dad today. He's taking it with both hands, literally with both hands. He's loving the responsibility of being the captain, being the figurehead of the team. He's a terrific young guy. I mean, not just as I think he's a really exceptional boxer, but he's also an exceptional sportsman. And he's got a great air about him. He's like a natural born type of leader guy. And for me now, this fight for him is a massive, massive moment in his career. He's obviously got to win it, but so if he does win it, he then catapults himself up into some seriously big fights.
Tough fight though against Damo
Well, it's
Williams.
the final eliminator for the world title, so that's the next stage. And he's in with a good fighter, no doubt about that. It's a competitive fight, but I believe in him. This is his toughest fight on paper, but I do believe in him because each time we put him in, we've raised the level. He's responded to that. And responded to it in style, not just fiddled all the way through and won a fight. He's blasted people out in style.
I mean, it's the biggest fight of his career up until this point, and that's the same for Williams. And I think that's what's great about the card, because if you look at every fight, you can make a very strong argument that for every fighter, all 10 of them, this is the biggest fight of their career. Wilder, you would say, has been in bigger fights because he's been a world champion. But right here, right now, this is it for him.
This is his Crossroads fight. This fight is his career. That's it. He's either got a career or he hasn't got a career. Simple as that.
And for the rest of them, they can bounce back, I think. Whoever loses can bounce back, but
Yeah.
it's the biggest fight of their career up until now.
Well, they're young men. They can, and you're absolutely right. They can do that. But obviously they don't want to lose. Daniel Dubois is in a tough fight. He's in with a mandatory challenger, undefeated fighter. There's history there. They've had a lot of sparring together over the years. I think it's about 4 or 5 sparring sessions, and they were very, very competitive. Albeit Daniel was it was 5 years or 6 years ago, but there's no love lost there. You see that. I mean, genuinely no love lost between the two of them. This again is going to be a cracking fight, an absolute barn burner. And I do fancy Daniel. He's got all the tools to win this fight. He's got a great jab. He can box. He's got tremendous power in both hands. Good finisher. He's quite fast on his feet. He's quite nimble. It's going to be about his heart and mind. That's what it's about now. His heart and mind. And his heart and mind are in good place at the moment.
Well, it's also it's belief as well, right? I mean, it feels like that Jarrell Miller fight. There was a moment in there.
Well, that's heart.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're digging deep. You know, that 4th round, just for a moment, and then he switched back on. And Miller come to win. Miller's a big guy, and you know, he's a tough sod and so forth. But as soon as he got him in trouble, that shows you how dangerous he is right until the last round. As soon as he spots that moment, he clips you, and it's all over. He gets you. You really got to be a good fighter to survive that.
That was a massive moment, I think, in that fight, because it just brought home something that trainers always say. I remember Teddy Atlas saying it, others have said it, that what you're always trying to explain to your fighter is that those moments where it feels like it's too much and it's really, really hard, they will pass if you just stick in there. And he's stuck in there, because like you, I thought he might be about to go under, but he didn't, and he won the fight, and I just think it was massive for his confidence.
You're absolutely, you know, it's right. And you know, Teddy's a very respected trainer and a very knowledgeable boxing guy. But he also done the same against Kevin Lerena. Lorena's the good puncher, and he caught him in that first round, and he hurt him and put him on. You know, he went on the floor and he tore all his ligaments. And then he could see he couldn't set himself properly, but he gritted his teeth in that fight. He showed what he had a bit of heart there, and eventually done what he had to do and stop Kevin. Great stoppage. He showed. That's been the thing, because of the fight with Joe Joyce. Everybody started, or a lot of people started doubting his heart and his desire. You know what? This fight on Saturday is going to be about heart, mind, desire. That's what it's about.
Brilliant stuff, Frank. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Pleasure.
And